Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the CIL, the Collegiate iRacing League, for tonight's Premier Series event at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and we'll see who's going to get lucky by the end of tonight. Joining me up in the booth, as always, Josh Crane, and a new voice you're going to hear tonight, Edwin Onefre, joining us from the University of North Texas. First of all, Josh, welcome back, and good to see you again.
That's right. We're in Las Vegas out here in the desert. It's a little bit warmer. It's about 75 degrees here, and the track's going to be a little bit warmer. But I'll tell you what it is, the radiation from the sun, not a cloud in the sky here. And that's going to be a little bit warmer for these drivers, warmer on the track. So, in fact, you're seeing 122 Fahrenheit on the track temp. So pretty warm for these drivers. But no matter, qualifying is going to be just about wide open in these Gen 6 stock cars. And then once we get into the packs that we'll see, I think the general theme, guys, has been that these drivers are a little bit tight, pretty tight in traffic as they try and get around. So you can be loose in turns 2 and 4 as the run goes on and some of that fuel burns off from the tank that's situated just over the rear axle of these cars. However, when we go down into turn 1 for about the first 5 to 10 laps, the theme is going to be who is tight. So that's going to be tricky. And then I think we did see in the prospect race last night, a lot of green flag laps and then a little bit of pit strategy that came into play. Finally, we did see a lot of cars loose, especially off turn 4. Right in the center of turn 4, the car sits, lands, coming off a 3, and then right about the time that you want to start looking and thinking about going out to that outside wall, the back end gets a little bit ahead of some of these drivers, depending on how their driving style lens and how they have worn their tires throughout the run. So that's what we've learned. That's what we expect here tonight. But gentlemen, I think that we are in for a treat. And again, Edwin, I think it was pretty clean last night and a lot of fun to watch.
It was definitely clean for sure. A lot of drivers are not really that ready for this track because of the major changes that go. It's a wide groove, open a track that you can go wherever you want, but it's all about managing those tires. Las Vegas is known for shredding the tires like cheese, and it's just very difficult. Let's see who's able to put the throttle control on for tonight.
I think that's accurate, and you mentioned it. We said that the race, the runs are going to start out pretty wide open, maybe a little bit of lift here or there, depending on how tight you are. But as we get in, I think you're exactly right, Edwin. It's going to be who can pedal it, who can keep their tires underneath them for the duration of the run, and who can do pit road well. By the way, getting on to pit road, no small feat as we have seen this season already. So coming down to it, just closing up as we are entering qualifying right now. Each driver will have 3 laps, and these times will roll in. But we've concluded practice, Edwin and Jarrett, and I'll start Edwin first. What are you thinking for tonight? Who do you expect to see on top of the sheet, and who do you expect in victory lane at the end of this one?
It's difficult to say because we're in Las Vegas. We're near the cities where there are a ton of casinos. So these are long shots and there are small shots. One of them would be one of my teammates, Ryan Lusich, which he has been strong in the first few races of the season, but it has been very difficult to manage it off finish. Meanwhile, we have other drivers who are just as tough on the scenes and always on top. One of them being either Ethan Head, Ryan Whitlock. We also have a few other drivers who are very not on the radar, but they should also be known because they know how to go around Las Vegas. Some of these drivers like Las Vegas as one of their preferred tracks, others don't like it, but it's just all come and go.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. So these guys being able to come out and put their laps down. You see Ryan Whitlock right now, Huntsville at Alabama, and Matthew Nordberg, NC State. Not sure if he's on track, but I'll tell you who I have seen come up, guys. A lot of improvement from Brad Daniels at Robert Morris University, and depending on that car's luck and where he is in the field, he's been up a lot and has shown that he has the pace. And so I think that at least my pick and somebody to watch for me is going to be Brad Daniels, that Robert Morris machine.
Yeah, Josh, I think that's a good pick right there. But I tell you, Jared Kaler, like you said, Edwin, always an easy pick there. But someone who keep an eye on Thomas Toomey from the University of Virginia in that 66 machine, currently sitting on provisional pole as he just gets knocked off by Ryan Lusich as soon as I say that. But Toomey, we've come to know Toomey on the road side of things, where he's been a constant fixture up at the podium on the road side, but really figuring it out on the oval side. And he's quietly been top 5, top 10 all season long. And I think he's going to figure it on out here at Las Vegas tonight. Josh?
Yes, sir. These drivers are going to be able to put on quite a show. And I think that it's going to be pretty exciting to see the variety that we get. We did see a variety of pit strategies last night. Nick Stockner again tried to go long and actually was successful in staying out. Got a lap ahead of the field. There was a caution, so he was able to move, just about leapfrog the whole field. And then he pitted fresh tires and was on the lead lap with everyone else towards the end, but had leaped the whole field. So bit of an interesting strategy. We'll see if the drivers will run it this time around. But you can see times now starting to come in, and Edwin, I think your teammate is at the top of the tower for now.
Definitely. He's been putting a pretty good strat. I was not able to see what lane he took, but it's pretty imaginable because it is such a big track. Usually the upper groove of the track gives less time to complete a fast lap. So it's very easy to try to get a bottom lane going on. Make sure you don't get loose or tied on the exit of both corners. But yeah, so far he's in pole position right now, but that's provisional. Who knows who can bring in the long shot for the pole position as of now.
And I tell you who might. It's Jared Kahlers. He goes out on track board with that number 58 NC Charlotte machine. And Josh, take us through a lap here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, as we ride on board with Kahlers, you're going to go down into turn 1, or he's going to take his time getting down to that white line, and that car's going to settle in. Could be loose in the middle of the run, but not right there. He's going to come out back to the wall, and you do have a little bit of time to think as you go down the straightaway. And again, take your time getting down. He did kind of enter about halfway up the track, but here, white line, there's where you would be loose, and then you can start to unwind that steering wheel. Pretty unique here. You can go down and just grab that grass. That's going to be the shortest way around this Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But I'll tell you what, as he goes down, in fact, I think he's going for his second lap right now, back on the line just there. He's going to keep it a little bit loose. Not sure if this one will be faster, but you can see that these drivers are not coming all the way up to the wall right on exit. So you think about maybe Texas or Kansas, where drivers are going to be at that outside wall at the exit of turn 2. It takes a little bit longer here at Las Vegas. You have the ability to keep that car towards the inside a little bit longer.
So as the 18 drivers have set their times, I tell you guys what I'm looking at, and you guys mentioned it, that they are flat during these qualifying laps. You can see it, the top 3 only separated by 1/100th of a second. So it is minuscule little mistakes that make to put you in second or third, and that could be huge here at Vegas with this kind of drafting style racing we're going to have here tonight in the Gen 6 NASCAR stock cars. But if I'll ask you, Edwin, if you're one of the guys kind of in that middle of the pack, I'm looking at Austin DeLong, Bradley Daniels, Matthew Nordberg. What's your strategy as this race gets underway?
Normally, I would think of the bigger picture. I would try to save my tires as best as possible, not try to fight for position early on. But even if there are early cautions, I would still advise not going for the big picture here. I mean, not that, but it's just very difficult. A lot can happen. Normally, if there's early cautions, I would just pit in for fuel so that way I wouldn't have to pit for more fuel later on and just take tires to minimize pit time. I would also try to get the runs as best as I can because being in the Gen 6 cars, they don't have as much aerodynamic support as the Gen 7s with the rear diffuser and whatnot. So you'll try to take advantage of getting behind somebody so that way you wouldn't lose the draft.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, just up on top of our scoring tower, we're going to have to add some zeros. Looks like Ryan Lusich now on the outside of the front row with Andrew McCall from Purdue taking the new point spot. And guys, that difference is 0.02 of a second. That's a 30.554 on top of a 30.556. And so we talked about these guys being pretty close together, and I think that is the truth here this evening.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Josh, you mentioned last night's Prospect Series race. Only 2 cautions. Guys tonight going to race a little tighter, maybe make a move that they wouldn't necessarily make last night. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. We've seen races with long green flag runs and without long green flag runs. So, Edwin, to your point, figuring out what your strategy is tonight. Do you think there's going to be a lot of yellows? Do you think you're going to have a long green flag run? Because that dictates how you use your tires in the run. They are unlimited sets here tonight. So, again, you got to figure out when to use those tires and get them on the car and fast, Josh.
I think that's accurate, and I guess I can never predict the future, but I would expect we're going to have maybe a couple excited yellows early on. However, I think that overall, once with this 100 lap race, I think we're going to get a little bit through, and I think the nerves will get settled out, and I think we will see some green flag action like we saw last night, which is good too. 100 laps, I think that these guys are going to have their minds full of strategy, and there will be a couple different paths to success. Coming up here, this qualifying order all but set right now with a little less than 2 minutes to go in this qualifying round as these drivers finish up putting their times. Just a few left to go. Certainly Andrew McCall and Ryan Lusich going to lead the way to the green flag. So pretty exciting. I don't know that Purdue has had made this maybe their first pole in the CIL Oval event, certainly. And Ryan Lusich, I think Edwin, you had mentioned no stranger to the front of the field, Ryan Lusich, and a couple of wins himself, but pretty good starting spot as well for your teammate.
Yeah, Josh. Ryan Lucius have been able to get that second row, which early on, depending on your strategy, you may want to start on the top lane so that we can get a bit of momentum run and possibly save the tires. So right now he should be comfortable. But if there's going to be any early cautions, then he might want to have to rethink his strategy and try to figure out who does he want to be best friends with on track and who he got to take caution from. So let's just see how that turns out as the race progresses.
I think that will be the key. So with 30 seconds to go, these guys are going to get slowed down, get their fuel in the car, get their last their last drinks, do whatever they need to, maybe some pizza rolls from the oven, and they're going to get set for 100 laps here in Las Vegas. So it's sunny. It's a little bit warm track. Edwin, you mentioned tires. I think that's going to be our strategy all race long is to maintain those tires. And I know that these drivers getting ready both in Discord and race chat, we can see that these guys are ready to go. And so I think we are as well. Jarrett, what are you looking for in these opening laps here?
Yeah, I think Edwin said it. Patience is going to be key in these opening laps. Everyone's going to be fast. Everyone's going to want to get to the bottom, and everyone's going to want to kind of make the moves while the tires are fresh, right? And I think being patient as the driver is going to be key. It's going to be tough to do because you're going to feel like Superman with those fresh tires on a relatively clean track. But being patient, staying out of any early action, so to speak, will be critical here tonight. So let's run through your grid here, brought to you by InnoVetted Labs. Andrew McCall on pole from Purdue. On his outside, Ryan Lusich from North Texas. Andrew Williams from Clemson University rolls off third here tonight. And Jared Kaler from UNC Charlotte back there in fourth. Sean Campbell from Randolph Community College rolls off in fifth here tonight. Hagan Johnson, another Clemson driver, in sixth. Jeremy Milneran from Purdue will roll off seventh. Nick Stockner, one of our onboard drivers here tonight, he starts in eighth. Thomas Toomey, my pick to win, starts in ninth here tonight and rounding out the top 10. Tyler Stone from St. Clair College. Ryan Whitlock from the University of Alabama at Huntsville starts in 11th. Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology in 12th. Carrying on down your order, Bradley E. Daniels from Robert Morris will roll off 13th. 14th is held by Matthew Nordberg from NC State. Zach Lindler, another Clemson driver, starts in 15th. And Tristan Yoder from Robert Morris on his outside in 16th. 17th is Cody Fadenhauer from Thomas Nelson Community College. And Dan Banner, the first of our St. Clair College drivers, in 18th. Esteban Munoz, haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. He rejoins the CIL here at Las Vegas. He starts in 19th. And Alexander Gagnon from Robert Morris in 20th. Derek Jennings is off 21st. He's in the Grand Canyon University car. And John Dinkle from Rose-Hulman University at 22nd. Jeff Pete from the University of Minnesota at Twin Cities starts in 23rd here tonight. And in 24th is going to be Nick Maloche, another St. Clair College driver. Rounding out your order is going to be Alexander Hogarth, also from St. Clair College, Kenneth Talbot, another Alabama at Huntsville driver, Ricky Paz, and Ethan Head back there in the back of your field. Josh?
28 cars on the grid coming around. They're in turn 2 right now, coming out of it. Bit of a moment for the University of Minnesota today. A bus floating through the window, nobody injured, of one of their trusty local spots there for students. Made some waves in the Discord and had the Minnesota drivers reminiscing their favorite times there. So that'll be one for inspiration tonight as these drivers come down the backstretch. Trying to get warm, lights out on the pace car. Everybody trying to make their black box set, trying to figure out their strategy and find out, as Edwin said, who are your friends. And so as these guys come together, Purdue and North Texas on the front row, and it looks like Charlotte at North Carolina at Charlotte ready to go in Jared Kaler on the outside. Jarrett, what do you see here as we come to the green flag? Pace car off.
Pace car is off, and that good-looking matte black Purdue Boilermakers car will lead us to the green flag here for round number 5 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Back in the field up is McCall, and he will drop that top spot. Lusich into the top spot. He can't make the pass just yet. And there'll be 2x2 heading in turn 1. Josh?
Not before the finish line, but he's got all the room now. Edwin mentioned coming off the top side. Will he have momentum? He floats up a little bit higher. He wants to get that runoff. Don't know if Purdue's going to close the door. He said, spotter said, you're not clear yet. Now it's 3 wide, and Clemson to the point in the bottom of turn 3 and 4, followed by Randolph and Sean Campbell, and loose are already loose. That's Andrew Williams in the 23. Looks like some drivers collected, trying to be avoided. But that was Andrew Williams in the 23, just a little bit loose there as they continue to try and get around their situations. So a couple of those drivers will have to be there, but going 3 wide down the front stretch and loose. So guys, that was what we wondered if we would see, where there was everybody was used to qualifying flat out by themselves. However, it turned out that the air is a little bit different in traffic, isn't it, Edwin?
That is correct. As you can see, Andrew Williams just got very loose at the exit of turn 4, and then he was not able to correct it. Unfortunately, got to the grass, collected other drivers along the way who are also getting loose out of the exit. It seems like these drivers were not ready for that grip to just be absent in the beginning of these early laps at Las Vegas.
Yeah, that is. In fact, I can see right there your pole sitter, the Purdue machine, was just trying to take evasive action. And it's so tough when that car, Edwin, is loaded up and you have the weight on the right side in the middle of the banking and try and change lines like that. We saw he twitched and moved the car, and then eventually it was all the way around there. So, yeah, pretty tough for those guys.
Do keep in mind these drivers get 1 fast repair over the course of the night, so 1 time that you can return your car to its fully repaired state that you have it in at the start of the race. So I think we're going to see quite a few individuals use that here in this one. You see the 20, the 127, the 7. So guys involved in the wreck: Nick Stockner, Jared Kaler, Andrew McCall, Hagen Johnson, Jeremy Milner, Dan Bannon, Alexander Hogarth, all involved in that lap 1 incident.
Yeah, and lap 1 would be the time. If you have to have an incident, lap 1 would be the time to get it out of the way with the race able to come back to you. However, not the start that some of these cars were looking for. Looks like as we come to this next round, it'll be Sean Campbell, Ryan Lusich, and Andrew Williams there. So Clemson's still in play. And it's going to be Randolph coming to lead to the green flag. But yeah, lap 3 of 100 in the books. And I think that our biggest takeaway was maybe aggression. Drivers excited to get out and go 3 wide. And then the lack of grip right there, as we saw, just a little bit tricky to be out there. And then uncharted waters, right? This is the first time that these drivers have been in a pack here with these cars in some time here at Las Vegas. And so everybody is learning a little bit. Yeah,
learning indeed. And we said it at the top of the broadcast, patience is going to be key. Saw a couple guys drop to the back in almost anticipation that this would happen. Cody Faden, Howard Thomas Toomey, Jeremy Milner, and all kind of anticipating that trouble, and for the most part able to avoid it. But as you see him stacked up 2x2 again, you start finding out who's your dancing partner, and you said that a couple times. Who can I dance with? Who do I want to stay far away from? So we'll see who decides that it's time to make that move here in the next restart. Josh?
Yeah, I think that's accurate, and we will get the green flag this time by. It'll be Sean Campbell on the inside of Ryan Lewis there for the University of North Texas. Coming back up fourth, these drivers are going to be able to rack them and stack them one more time. So, Jarrett, let us know how it looks up there.
So Sean Campbell, we often see him at the front of the pack on the road side. We're going to see him up at the front on the oval side. Ford Mustang pace car takes that left-hand turn onto pit lane here at Las Vegas, and you get a long stretch into that Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air, and we're under green. Great jump by Sean Campbell. He's going to be 2, maybe 3 car lengths away from Lucich back there in second, but I see Ryan Whitlock diving to the bottom side in that 89 machine. He's going to try and get underneath the 23 of Andrew Williams. Can't quite do it, and further on behind, they continue to battle 2x2.
That's the 137 of Tyler Stone, just outside the 24 of Brad Daniels. That's my pick. I like the way he performs up there. So Robert Morris University trying to look on the inside, trying to keep those tires too. I don't know if I want to be right on the inside there, but about a width off the white line should be fine. That's where those drivers are. You saw Florida International University in your shot right there. In fact, great shot. Penn College of Technology as well as NC State. Maybe some internet from Tyler Stone there as these drivers try and make their way through 1 and 2. A little bit of a slip from Robert Morris just getting up and to that wall. You can see these drivers, they are taking a little while to get back up to that wall. You can exit turn 2 a little bit more gradually. We are 3 wide. It looks like number 7, Hagen Johnson, on the bottom of 3 there, as Ricky Paz, also from Valparaiso University, trying to make the best of his situation. He comes out on top, maybe with a little bit of a lift from his friends. Then I'll tell you what, 22 of Austin DeLong sliding back just a little bit behind Tristan Yoder in the 09. So Edwin starting to get some laps down, starting to play nicely together. But I'll tell you what, this is a traffic jam for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, it was a traffic jam at the beginning of the restart, but now it's all becoming a single file as we see somebody get loose. It gets tagged out of the exit of turn 4.
And we stay green there, as that is exactly what happened. The car's fanning out across the front stretch. You can use that. No double yellow rule here, as you see Jared Kaler come off for UNC Charlotte. So back on there, you can see the 137 of Zach Lindler, and FIU. Looks like NC State thought better of it. Maybe a little bit early for that action, as we learned on lap 1. But looking back, yeah, that's a mirror full right there for FIU's Esteban Munoz. Getting set up, and still a strong program from FIU here on the oval side, as you can look back. And I'll tell you what, who else is strong? North Carolina State and Brad Daniels trying to negotiate for that position, and whoever wins that little battle is going to have a good run up to the front here. But you can see these drivers really getting down on the white line, so that's going to use up their tires a little bit. But these drivers able to negotiate themselves and traffic as well as the track. Don't forget, 122 degrees, not a very cool track for these drivers at all.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this racing changes over these next couple laps. About 7 laps into this green flag run, as these tires start to wear a little bit, do guys change the lines? Do they maybe hang back a little bit? But everyone in that tight-knit pack. FIU with big block down the back straightaway, as that's Esteban Munoz, the number 9 machine, keeping that bottom line in check. Top 3, Sean Campbell, Ryan Lucich, and Andrew Williams. Lap 10 of 100 complete.
Yeah, I think so. Watching maybe a little bit too much Joey Logano film, that 9 car coming down, but Ryan Whitlock able to save another day. So, yeah, he's going to be right there now and still on the bottom. We'll see if he can get around. I don't know, Edwin, after 10 laps of racing, these tires just going to start probably to slow down, and I'd probably like to be in that middle groove. You see NC State, you see Robert Morris, and that's probably where I would like to put my car. But Obviously, not every driver's going to have that choice as we go nearly 4 wide across the tri-oval and then have to agree back on out. That's the tricky part. It's easy to fan out. It's a little bit harder to get back in line.
Agreed. Despite this track being multi-groove, there's only a favorable line which everybody else goes, and you have to fight against other drivers to try to keep it that lane. It's just very difficult with the way the aerodynamics work in iRacing and such. You just have to be careful around, and you also better not scrap your tires too much, especially by fighting for the groove. As you can see, there's a bunch of passes trying to occur right now. But seems that as the run progresses, these cars are getting tighter on the exit, not being favorable in attaching themselves to the preferred groove. Josh?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a key for these drivers is being able to negotiate. I'll tell you who's saving it right now is there, that 14 machine of St. Clair College able to negotiate. It looks like Matthew Nordberg has chosen violence. He's going to try and get down low. Can he get this done? Yeah, a lot of room given, but he's going to have to get back up in there, and he does give back the position, and he lifts back into turn 1. That was probably a business decision from the NC State driver, knowing that he has most of this race left to go.
You can see it right there from the shot from our camera crew. Kind of 2 packs have begun to form, this lead pack and then that trailing pack. Now the pack really single file. Everyone's still jockeying for position here, lap 15 out of 100. But Sean Campbell holding on to the lead, but look who's in second. That's Ryan Lusich, the North Texas driver, right behind him. A little battle going on between the 14 and the 23. That's Tyler Stone in the 14, Andrew Williams in the 23. Stone will sneak on by and inherit that 3rd position from Clemson's Andrew Williams.
Yeah, it's correct. I'll tell you what, Tyler Stone, not a name we've called a lot, but we know that St. Clair Shores has a lot of potential and a lot of outright skill, guys, not just potential, they capitalize. And so P3 and looking down on Ryan Lusich right now, Lusich having maybe a little bit sooner than he would prefer. And you can see right there the result, especially when you're in that dirty air, just a little bit tight on exit and Edwin, that is going to get your tires used up. But on board now with Tyler Stone from St. Clair College, Protection Security Investigation major, and graduating in the spring of 22, guys. That is right now. So coming up in that April-May timeframe, one of the many students here who are graduating and going on to exciting things.
You're all right about it, as Tyler Stone is just patiently being in 3rd place, getting a bit of the draft from Ryan Lusich, not trying to play too aggressively. And I like that strategy. Don't be aggressive. You will wear your tires quicker than you think. And right now he is hanging on to the middle lane, which may be the preferred lane because he is somewhat catching up a bit on Ryan Lusich as he now have a run onto him.
Yeah, and a really good shot as you see going across here. Robert Morris University, that's Brad Daniels in the 24, a little bit low, a little bit of a checkup there. And yeah, I think with the tires, I think that it's hard to keep that bottom line working right on that white line. So you'll see him slide in line, everybody single file. I'll tell you who's together though. Those 2 cars from the University of Alabama at Huntsville. That is Trey Talbot leading Ryan Whitlock, and both those drivers continually getting the most spots gained from qualifying to the finish of the race each week so far. And we know those cars are going to have pace and probably just hanging out. And like you said, being pretty patient right now, Edwin. Back on board with the 7 car, Clemson machine of Hagen Johnson as he tries to join this train.
Breaking pause with maybe you called it a business decision earlier. Instead of going side by side for multiple laps, slide on in, save those tires, maybe make it up later in this run. So the top 12 cars you saw on your screen there, all single file now. So we'll see if that second group decides. And as I say that, here comes the 23 machine of Andrew Williams back on the bottom side, trying to get Tyler Stone back.
Clemson University and St. Clair College going head-to-head. It's going to be an advantage here for St. Clair as they can get off the corner if they do not close the door here from Clemson. And he's St. Clair College. Look at that, right alongside by turn 3. And I'll tell you what, a little bit of an arrow push from FIU, pushing that air bubble along. And then, yeah, back down to the bottom is where Esteban Munoz for FIU wants to go. And so pretty fun part of these tracks, guys. You can run 2 grooves here. And that's what they're trying to do. FIU, is he going to go? Door is closed. A little bit of contact there from the 14 and around. Tyler Stone is around, guys. Probably the 9 car did not need to put their nose in there. That's what would have initiated that contact right there, as you wrote on board. But so close for those drivers, and there is no margin for error when you live such a life.
Another look at what put us under the yellow, just barely a touch from the 9. Does upset the car. It's such a high rate of speed right there heading into turn 1, and it does send Tyler Stone around. Fortunately for that second group, enough time to be able to get that number 14 machine down to the bottom lane, kind of cleared out for everybody, able to make it work. One more look from high up above in the InnoVetted Labs blimp. Yeah, just a touch right there. 23 gets a good door. And it looks like the 89 might have a little nose damage there as well. Those Alabama Huntsville cars. Just a little bit of a checkup. I think they'll survive. But under our second yellow of the night here on lap 23 out of 100. Josh?
Yeah, Jared, I think you called it. Those 2 Alabama Huntsville cars running quite well together. But yeah, a little bit of trouble there as those guys try and get out of what was no fault of their own. But yeah, I mean, sometimes those banking, the tracks with the banking in the side as we get on pit road here will be a little bit more forgiving. But the tri-oval, the cars are a little bit off balance and much more prone to moving in what you just saw there.
So everybody coming down pit lane here. As you get a good look at all the cars heading down the pit lane. We'll get a good look at it here. Ryan Lusich into that second pit box. We'll see if he can be the first one out. Alexander Hogarth going to stay on out here. And we'll see if everyone goes for 4 tires. It does look like, as you see the cars getting jacked up. iRacing does not render every single individual pit crew. So that's why you see the cars going up and down, left and right. And it looks like Sean Campbell going to win that race off of pit road. Zach Lindler there in second. Ryan Lusich in third. And Matthew Norberg in fourth. Let's see if we can catch up with Ryan Lusich after that series of pit stops. Try and dial him up here in the broadcast. Ryan, this is Jared up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, yeah, I got you.
So we're through 2 yellows now. What's your strategy looking like for the North Texas machine here tonight?
I think it's really about saving the rear tires this race. So I've really been hoping for some longer green flag runs. I think you kind of saw it towards the end there. I feel like me and Sean were starting to pull away from the pack. So I think being really easy on those right rears, if we get a long run, is going to be one of the big differences.
I think that's accurate. So we're up here with gentleman you may know, Edwin Onofre from the University of North Texas. So Edwin, how do you see this race playing out, and how do you see Ryan doing? What are you seeing him do differently than other cars?
He is still right behind some of the leaders and not trying to be too aggressive. Ryan, you've been doing a great job. You've been trying to manage the tires. You're not getting loose or tight in any way. You were able to avoid the lap 1 collision, which unfortunately happened because nobody was ready. But I feel like you're able to pull this off just bit by bit.
Yeah, good to hear your voice, Edwin. Yeah, I appreciate it. That was really sketchy, that first caution. I was lucky enough to be on the outside, but it's been pretty exciting so far. It seems hard to lose the draft, so I think we'll see a lot more pack racing too.
Yeah, I think that's cool. We've seen a lot of pack racing, and it's a little bit dicey, especially to about 10 laps into the run. Everybody gets comfortable, gets their tires warm, and I think gets a little bit excited. But yeah, we're having a blast watching you guys and you wheel these cars around. I think we're taking a little bit of notes too.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
Yes, Ryan, we'll let you get back to it, but thanks for stopping by and joining us up here.
Yep, thanks for having me.
So that was Ryan Lusich from the University of North Texas. You saw another St. Clair College car head down pit lane. That's going to be Alexander Hogarth, so led his lap and then brought it down pit lane to get service on that car. I thought better of it after seeing everyone back there ready to go with 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on the car. Lights out on the pace car, and we'll rack them and stack them one more time. Sean Campbell going to lead us away. Zach Lindler up there on the top side. Matthew Nordberg and Ryan Lusich make up row number 2. Josh, your pick to win. Bradley Daniels sitting right back there in 6th, so he's in a good little spot for Robert Morris University.
I think that's accurate, as this is not the time to be worried about getting up to the front. Just staying up there, keeping the shenanigans behind you, and being able to be in position, I think, is why I looked at Brad Daniels, guys, at the beginning of this. Robert Morris, consistent. They are consistent in their pursuits this season, specifically elevating that program. So that's going to be something to watch for, I think, in all of those cars as well. But as we come around, it is Randolph followed by Ryan Lusich, and you see Zach Lindler there. And P2 on the outside for Clemson University. We'll see if he can slide down inside, guys, or if Ryan Lusich is going to try and close that gap. But I tell you who we can never sleep on, NC State on the outside in P4, as that pace car pulls off and they look for the green flag.
So Sean Campbell going to bring us to that Geico restart zone. Hits the stripe, and he is off. The 137 will not slide to the bottom. Lusich going to make do with that gap that he has. And here comes Matthew Nordberg as well. Back behind him, 3 wide between the 23, the 24, and the 19. Here comes Paz up on the top side with 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles for the Valpo Esports team. And right behind the 169, this Jeremy Milner, and he was up there in the front of the pack to start the race. And he's battled his way back up towards the front. Lusich in second, but Matthew Nordberg charging hard for that NC State team.
Excellent shot right there. As you can see that the best view in the house, and the drivers, the view that these drivers wish they probably had, that their spotters, if they have them, are trying to talk to them about. But you can see they're trying to get single filed out. But I'll tell you what, made a couple spots is that Valparaiso Esports car of Ricky Paz, the 19 right there, looking right now at the NC State machine. How can he get around? He's decided he wants up high a little bit of a side draft there as they try and adjust where they want to be. I think we saw Jeremy Miller and Purdue move that Brad Daniels car out of the way a little bit. And you're on board right now with Ricky Paz, again, in VR in his room studio right there. You can see he is all about it, Superman. He has been a little bit Superman, trying to get that thing up to the front right now. He's still going after NC State. Edwin?
Everybody fanning now, going 3 wide per the turns. Everybody's just wanting to get a little bit of the piece of the action, trying to gain some spots, but not try to hang on for it for long because they all want to get to the front. We see a little bit of action in the mid-pack too, with a lot of bumping and drafting, just try to catch up to the main pack so that way they wouldn't lose much of the draft.
Yeah, back in the main draft, we can see that the drivers trying to fan out. I don't know if this is a full second pack, but everybody a little bit spread out. You can see some names we don't always see. UNC back in the back. Grand Canyon University looks like actually 3 wide. Robert Morris in the middle, pretty close right there, but UNC holding it down. And you can see Tristan Yoder for Robert Morris University trying to back out. In fact, a little bit loose right there. Again, we talked about getting out of shape into the corner, especially while the weight is still transferring in these big, heavy stock cars, guys. That is a bold move. But Tristan Yoder from Robert Morris University, well held as a driver. The 81 up in the corner, and that's going to be Nick Malosh is around for St. Clair College. But guys, the 81 machine looked like was up. We will stay green right now, but looks like the 81 machine was trying to get around the apron, guys, and just couldn't quite keep it down there.
Quick look at what just occurred. You see the 80 slides up into that Purdue car, and Nick Malosh ends up the worst for wear. Derek Jennings as well involved in that, but tough break for the 98 team in St. Clair College. He'll have to bring that machine back around the pit road and back up toward the front. We got to pass for the lead, guys. Ricky Paz quietly making his way up.
Ricky Paz made his way around North Carolina State and others trying to keep that Randolph machine down there. He said, this is And back across the line, it is Randolph by a nose, but we have some good racing 2x2 as we go. North Texas and NC State Wolfpack not far behind at all, but you can see Ricky Paz back end hanging out just a little bit. He's going to try and get up there, get a little bit of side draft, and can he get a nose ahead? 3 wide now. Ryan Lusich has said it's my time. The University of North Texas is going to stay down low. Drivers given pretty even space around through the corner, and you can see Ricky Paz right there. Just a little bit of side draft, not much he can do. And actually, Randolph, again at the line, scored 8 thousandths behind. And so these guys all but even as they get around these corners. You can see a little bit of wiggle right there. But Edwin, I'm going to point something out that you had said as we see these cars sliding around these corners. You had said that right rear tire is going to be critical. And I wonder if these guys are going to be reminded of that in about 20 laps when they're out of tire.
Definitely. Ricky Paz was able to save the right rear. That's how he was able to get up to the front and quietly make some passes. Seems that there were other drivers who are having similar runs as we can see the 24 just passing the 23 of Andrew Williams. And we're about to approach a lap car. Now, the thing about this is that if you want to try to make a pass, you got to be careful about it because it's going to scuff your right rears and the other tires around you. And you're not going to be able to get the runs that you used to have, especially within the next 10 laps that we are approaching. As you can see, they're making the pass. Ryan Luce just maintains third place after losing just one spot. And Ricky Paz just seems to have gone back a few positions, but still within the lead draft. Josh?
Yeah, you know, the running order can change so quickly, and we have some fantastic motor racing this evening. Right here, you saw Ricky Paz drive his way up to the front, and then just as easy was caught on that bottom line, and we saw the momentum of the high line propel those other vehicles around him. So right now, your running order, Randolph and North Carolina State University. P3 right now is the University of North Texas, but it looks like Valparaiso Esports trying to get around in the 4th position. I'll tell you what, though, looking back, that is a mirror full for Sean Campbell. You can see he's got his work cut out for him. I doubt he's too stressed up in that cockpit, guys. He's no stranger to P1. However, he is going to have to be a flawless driver right now if he's going to pay attention. I'll tell you what, NC State is waiting to see if he can capitalize on any mistakes behind there.
Yeah, he's going to need a mistake, and you see it right there. It's one thing to catch the driver. It's a completely different thing to get around. But Matthew Norberg trying his best to sneak around if he can do it. Unable to do it so far, and you're seeing a little bit of aero push right there as the 76 washes up the track just a little bit. Opens the door for the number 12 machine. He'll try and sneak inside in turns 3 and 4, and will do it. And Ricky Paz says, the door's open. Let me walk on in as well. And he's going to sneak to the bottom side of the 76.
Yeah, and that was a move from the 12 that I didn't know if it would work out, being on the bottom like that. We've not seen that work traditionally, but let his tires cool off and made the pass. Got it done in one corner, guys. If you end up side by side for a couple laps, you're definitely not completing it on the bottom. You've only got one shot. As we say, a little bit of a slide job right there from Valparaiso. And yeah, boy, he's really using up those tires and maybe a little bit of his competitors as he is really getting after it. Ricky Paz for Valparaiso in that 19 machine. But guys, he's doing a good job and really putting on a class in how to get up here and mix it up with these guys. And it's not his first time up at the front of one of these oval races, and so he knows what he's doing. He is locked in, guys, in that VR headset. In fact, trying to keep the Wolfpack machine down there. We see this pack of Clemson machines. That's Andrew Williams in the 23, Hagen Johnson in the 7. You see right there, maybe a little bit loose off the corner. And that is Robert Morris University in the 24. Brad Daniels trying to get to the inside down to the white line and come off turn 2. So these guys following the leaders, guys. This is only about a tenth or two behind the leaders, so not very spread out at all as the Clemson teams continue to jockey for position. Again, 137, that's Zach Lindler right there in that black machine. Deskin on the car for one race here, you can see. So a little bit of airtime for those guys. And going through turns 3 and 4 down the backstretch now, you can see Nick Stockner. You can see Daikin on that car right there. That is going to be a new deal on that car for this week. And so Nick Stockner representing well, guys, and the whole Clemson team representing well, guys, getting it done.
Yeah, Nick Stockner with one of our onboard cameras. So riding along with Stockner here, and you can see him really working that wheel in turns 1 and 2, and then just let it ride out to that outside retaining wall. A little bit loose right there, possibly, or maybe came up the track just a little more than he wanted to. But Stockner, cool, calm, and collected. We talked about the tires, and you can see it right there. Stockner, very limited input into that steering wheel, and that's what you want. Just get the car to turn in, rotate itself, maybe use a little bit of that rear tire if you can, but do be careful because that car will get loose here in the middle and later stages of the run.
These drivers looking low. You can see 169 of Jeremy Miller and trying to get underneath Nick Stockner. He'll let him go, and he slides up. The 5 car could have a run here if he can get to the high side. Yeah, a little bit of a slide job. Not sure if he was clear, but back side by side now. Yeah, Nick Stockner going to have the momentum off here, and a little bit of draft from his Clemson teammates as he tries to go down into turns 1 and 2. He will again have some advantage, and so that could be. I don't know if I want to use up my tires like that if I'm the 169, but I don't get to make that decision there. As you can see, Robert Morris University, and almost a little bit of contact there, guys. Jeremy Miller and trying to figure out where his spotter is. Better check that radio connection.
Yeah, we're starting to see guys mix it on up a little bit, a little 2x2 racing action as the 62 machine of John Dinkle looks low on the 24, and he will go low in turns 1 and 2 right in front of 3 wide between the Clemson drivers, the 23, the 5, and the 137. So team orders maybe not in play here on lap 45 out of 100. Here comes Miller in that Purdue Boilermakers machine. He's looked quick in these long runs, so I think Jeremy really liking seeing green flag stay out as he's making his way up through the field. Further on up, you see Austin DeLong. I haven't called his name quite a bit here tonight, but DeLong just entered the top 5. He's putting the bumper on Ricky Paz, and he's going to try and sneak on up there. But your leaders, Sean Campbell and Ryan Lucid, starting to run away with it a little bit here at Texas. Las Vegas.
Well, yeah, Edwin, you had looked at and talked about working smarter, not harder, and I think that's what our leaders are doing. As you can see, P1 and 2, P3, and then the gaggle behind. But I think that's how they got out, is just being able to be clean and perhaps a truce for a little bit, guys. 3 laps from halfway, so we've got a long way to go in this one. That was one of the feedbacks in the off season. Drivers looking for a little bit more. A little bit longer length in these runs, to play a little bit more strategy and get these stock cars a chance to spread their legs. And so you can see Hagen Johnson and Clemson, the leading Clemson driver right now, trying to get around Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology. And so that's going to be one there. 24, you see Brad Daniels, and guys, we might be having pit stops coming in soon.
We are. Tyler Stone on pit lane right now, so we've got pit calls from the 14. I imagine he's going to be the first of many who will get green flag service here at Las Vegas. We'll see when the leaders come. They've obviously got time to do it after getting service on that second yellow, so don't expect to see the leaders for still a little bit, but be trying to make that strategy move. Get the fresh tires on the car, pick up the positions while you can, and bank that there's going to be a yellow soon after. I think it's tough to go this early. Caution.
Oh,
Big wreck right there. That's the 19 of Ricky Paz. Car not looking very good. We'll have to take another look at that, as that was just off of your screen. We'll get one more.
It was
look
indeed
at it.
just off the screen there. A couple cars coming together, and then Ricky Paz backing up into the wall. If you do get into the wall, that's the way you want to do it. You want the nose to be intact. But yeah, going into turn 2 right here, looked like Austin DeLong below. Not sure if there was a touch of netcode or if they got in the corner. Sometimes drivers just trying to work on different lines going into the corner. And guys, we know that Ricky Paz has been making a habit of holding these drivers down low. Generally something you see on corner exit, where the inside car would have to react to the outside car. However, maybe a little bit of a role reversal in this one. But yeah, an excellent shot here, as you see, coming across the top side. And Hagen Johnson deciding to give the 19 a little bit of help. But yeah, right there, I think maybe the 22 machine, I think that's we'll see what race control will say, if that's a racing incident or if that's a driver at fault incident. But pretty tough to say there. And I don't know. That will be time for pit stops. It will be. So these drivers will come down, probably get 4 fresh tires at lap 50. So we were going to see some green flag stops, but we might not get that. But I'll tell you what, it is going to be a hot race off pit road. Edwin?
All these drivers entering pit road got to make sure that they don't slip up on their brakes and their tires and not miss a stop. This is not the money stop, but you do want to gain as much positions as you can early on in this race, so that way you wouldn't have to deal with the mid pack being in that wreck like last time.
I'll tell you who
Yeah,
this almost benefited a lot was Tyler Stone getting into the pits just before the yellow flag. Yellow comes out that lap, but he was a lap down, so he's going to have to get the wave around here. Big race off of pit road, and it looks like the North Texas machine going to lead off of pit lane. Just nudges out Sean Campbell. So the pair of Fords leading the way. Matthew Nordberg third, Zach Lindler fourth, Austin DeLong fifth off of pit lane. Josh?
Yeah, the race off continues. Alabama at Huntsville and Tennessee trying to race off Alabama, just edging that group out. And yeah, it looks like it will be the 12 of Ryan Lusich scored first off pit road. And so really tight battle for these drivers who are trying to do their best here and come across cleanly. Pit stops, always the trickiest part, guys. 26, 30 cars or so. And that is a tough way to go. So just not a lot of room for everybody.
So we mentioned that fast repair at the top of the hour, and Ricky Paz able to get that fast repair, and he's back up there in Eve. And we'll see if we can dial him up on the radio and see what happened. Ricky, you got a copy?
What's up, guys?
Hey, Ricky, good to hear you. This is Jared up in the booth. Your take on what happened this most recent incident there from your perspective?
Honestly, I was just looking to try and stay in the top 5. I know we were losing some speed there because the tires were starting to go away. I was kind of just riding. I was having a good battle with, I think that was the 22, yeah. And there's, no hard feelings. We talked over, and we don't know whose fault it was. I don't know what Michael thinks or what the booth saw. So from my perspective, I guess, we just were fighting for the same spot, and I was loose, he was tight. So we'll let ourselves figure it out after the race. For now, we're just focused on getting to the end of this thing, and we're a little over halfway. So this Chevy Camaro, the number 19 Valpo car, is pretty fast. We got a short run car, so we're hoping for one of those at the end.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you are fast indeed. I'm going to go back a few more laps to you guys and yourself. Drove up from 4th or 5th to the front and mixed it up with those guys. And man, don't give away all your secrets, but what's the rule to getting around here and keeping your tires on the car and making it all look so easy?
Well, it's not easy, that is for sure. I'll tell you what, you see what happened these last 10 laps of the run. We paid for, slicing and dicing through the field, but it's all about just trying to figure out what line. This really is a driver's track, and just trying to figure out where you want to run and what feels most comfortable for your car. So we'll take a look at it after the race, and we'll look at that incident. But we're just focusing on getting to the front now and staying up here and having a good 47 last laps.
All right, well, you're looking good, so keep it on up, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you much, guys.
So it's Ricky Paz. You see him on your screen there in that Superman shirt, and I'm sure it's not the last time we're going to be hearing from Ricky here. And you heard it right there. Short setup car. So we'll see how that pays off. He's going to need another yellow based on that. So should be a good little run here to the finish. 53, we're coming to lap 54 of 100 here tonight. So just over that halfway point, and Lusich will lead us to the green flag. We've seen Sean Campbell be very good on the restart, so it'll be interesting to see what the number 12 team decides to do on this restart. That Ford Mustang going to take that left-hand turn onto pit lane, and the field will be left in the hands of that number 12 team. 137 all over the back bumper of Campbell on the top side. Green flag in the air, and we're rolling here at Las Vegas, and a great jump for the 12. Also, another good jump from Matthew Nordberg. He's been money in these restarts. A little checkup on the top side. But, guys, look at Jared Kaler up in the top 10.
Yeah, top line, a little bit slow to get up through the gears, but you can see there that they are coming around the bend, and that is 12 out front. So Ryan Lusich trying to make it, but Matt Norberg with a big push from Sean Campbell. We'll see how that plays out. Meanwhile, back for fourth, you can see Penn College of Technology and Austin DeLong trying to get a little bit further on that hard side and hard in the outside wall, but bounces off. Everybody lives. I believe it was the 137. That would be Zach Lindler. FIU looking low. They fan out 3 wide, back to 2 now. You can see Sean Campbell maybe a little bit off the pace, losing a little bit of ground to the leaders, and Austin DeLong actually having to check up, and they're going to bottleneck that outside line just a little bit. And so drivers get a little bit excited. Still just past halfway, still about 45 laps to go. And still contact from the 22. Andrew Williams in the 23 going to slide along. It's Clemson University, and looks like not quite saved. He almost had it saved, guys, but Penn College of Technology just a little bit loose right there. Don't know if he had help or a bump in the mid-corners. You can see Purdue involved and the University of Alabama at Huntsville involved. It looks like that caution bred a caution, but going to have to see the replay there. I know that the 22 loose right here, maybe just a little bit lower than he wanted to be and had to kind of jump up off and up on that banking. Pretty hard to do that. Edwin, what did you see right there?
I saw the 22 getting incredibly low. I don't know if that was because he got loose into the corner, but regardless, he still got very low. Unfortunately, tagged into the 169, and then it was just a wild ride from there. He had it hanging on, but now he got loose, and unfortunately, because of that, there was a chain reaction and it tagged the 757 of Cody. Unfortunate to that incident, he was just a victim from afar and still got taken out by others, including the 89. And it just happens. It's very loose, especially after the restart, getting the fresh tires. The 22 nearly had it, but unfortunately, it was not enough.
Yeah, cold tires, and you can see there that as you come up, you had mentioned he had it saved, and boy, I thought he did too. But as you come up off of turn 4 and closer to that wall, the track comes up as the banking transitions to a flatter surface, and right there, the help, the assist that the banking gives to that rear end, all that weight transfer, is going away, and so he was probably banking on that. You could see he had just the right amount of opposite lock into the car right there, and then as he went back left, the back end wanted to come around, and then it was a little bit of a correction, and then back into the wall there as we saw. But very hard to save the car, especially at any of these intermediate tracks where you're at. Charlotte, Kansas comes to mind, and then Las Vegas, where you're coming up off that final corner, and it is very tricky. In fact, Texas as well, I do believe. And so these guys will have one more chance to come back and get stacked back up again. And I'll tell you what, Edwin, your leader still the University of North Texas.
He's been playing smart, especially with his former rival for now, Sean. But now there's a little bit of a loop. Matthew Norberg is now in second place now, but he's still in the front, so he doesn't have to deal that much with them unless the tire comes in and he manages to lose a bit of grip on the corners. Therefore, he loses a bit of the run. But so far, everything's been nice and neat in the front pack. In the middle pack, there's been a few wrecks, unfortunate to those. But let's just see. It's still a long run. We still have a bit of laps to go, around 40 laps to go. Let's see how this plays out, and let's see what strategy is going to be changed. Are they going to be now aggressive? Are they going to still be patient, focus on the bigger picture? Or let's see, as you said, cautions breed cautions.
Cautions breed cautions, indeed. And everyone gets those fresh tires, and they feel like Superman. Sometimes they wear the Superman shirt. Not to pick on Ricky. He's been doing a pretty good job picking through the field. So I'm sure that's not the last time we've seen the 19 up at the front. But yeah, those fresh tires just give you that false sense of confidence at times. See guys send it into maybe a gap that isn't quite there. And we might see another yellow or two before this is said and done. But light's still on in the pace car. So one more lap here around this 1.5 mile oval. And you see all the cars go, and I think pretty much everyone that's been involved in the wreck has used their fast repair at this point, so you're stuck with what you got at this point. And Josh, I'll start with you. What do you think's your strategy with about 40 laps to go? Are you anticipating another couple more yellows, or what is your strategy here?
Well, I think that my strategy would be to try and get in and stay a little bit patient. We saw how long it took to complete the first half of this race, and I think that we could be in a similar situation for the second half. We are about 60 laps into it here. That's when we'll go green, as we see the lights off on the pace car now. But that's going to be pretty key for these drivers. It's a little bit too early to make the highlight reels just yet, is my first opinion. But we're already seeing that drivers having to drive differently towards the end of a long run. In fact, if they want to be successful in a long run, they have to drive a little bit differently, go a line up, lift on corner entry, manage all those items. I mean, in a couple practice laps, I could tell you that it was the right rear tire that you go into a corner and you go on the landing, and it's the right rear tire that holds you in place. So if you want to save that tire, like Edwin mentioned, then you will need to lift and be a little bit more patient into the corner, and that could be a possibility with 40 laps to go.
Yeah, indeed, especially if you choose to keep those tires on the car all night, all the rest of the night long. But lights out on the pace car. Ryan Lusich there in that top spot. Matthew Norberg as well. And then look at row number 2, Sean Campbell, Jared Kaler. So the 58 machine has battled all the way back to the front, and he's going to mix it on up with these leaders now. Should be a very good restart here. So we'll see when the 12 goes and how good of a restart they will get. Backs up the field a little bit, but Lusich powers off. Nordberg there in second. He will hold on to that for the time being. Sean Campbell trying to make the bottom side work, but a good push from Jared Kaler. I tell you what, if you want a drafting buddy, the 58 has proven to be a good one. 3 wide back behind. Ricky Paz in the middle of that mess that is cleaning itself up there on the back straightaway, Josh.
Yeah, down into 3 and 4. These drivers have finally gotten 2 by 2. A little bit of single file at the front. That's going to be Ryan Lusich all by himself. Jared Kaler going to look under Randolph College for some speed there. Looks like 3 wide, maybe, as we agree into the corner there. Yeah, 3 wide, Randolph in the middle. And tell you what, NC State and Clemson given room on the outside. Guys, these guys are aware of their cars and where the other drivers are. I say that. Andrew Williams maybe a little bit loose off the corner right there. But as they go back into this corner, turn 3, I'll tell you who I see, FIU, Esteban Munoz trying to make a play and get up in here. Jared Kaler back to P6 right now as Andrew Williams moves up, Ricky Paz moves up, and Randolph College and Sean Campbell falling back just a bit, working on that bottom side right now. But I'll tell you what, we got an action up at the lead. North Texas trying to defend from the North Carolina State Wolfpack. But guys, I'm not sure there's much there.
Yeah, it looks like Norberg going to get down to that bottom groove. Get that dirty air all over the nose of the number 12 machine. But look at Ricky in that number 19 machine sneaking his way up. A 3 wide right behind Jared Kaler, making it work. Yellow is out, so we'll have to see what the yellow flag is for. But boy, was that fun to watch there up at the front.
That was fun to watch, and I think that some of these drivers, Edwin, are getting a little bit excited. Something about those pit stops halfway through, everybody could feel it in the air. So, yeah, we'll have to get a replay on what that was for. However, these drivers are going to get racked back up. You can see there the 7, that's a Clemson machine. The 15, that's Derek Jennings, a Clemson machine. And then 81, that was Alexander Gagnon from Robert Morris University coming through. And so these drivers trying to figure out what's going on, where to get stacked back up, and maybe just a self-spin there, probably for the Hogarth number 20 machine. That's St. Clair College. As you can see, that car getting caught back up to the field. So we will be back racing in no time on. You can see right there up, and maybe not enough room given to the 119 machine. That is Jeff Pete in the 119 machine for the University of Minnesota. And then Alexander Hogarth just trying to find a way through this. So again, Edwin, we're talking about drivers and room given, and as the race goes on, that track becomes a little bit narrower for some of these drivers.
You're right, Josh. As the intensity on the final laps are approaching, so are the drivers. And as you said, the track itself seems to be getting narrower only because the intensity is picking up. these drivers don't want to leave any room, even though the spotter is telling them you're not clear, and they just want to try to take advantage of the position they have and not lose any more spots. As you can see, the 20 seemed to be having a good run, but unfortunately got tagged by Jeff Pete in the number 119, unfortunately, for the University of Minnesota. And it just happens. These guys are changing their strategies, and now seems to be that they're going into aggressive mode, and they're going to try to take full advantage of that. But unfortunately, as we said before, cautions breed cautions, and it seems to be that way. And I don't know if it will keep proving it itself, but we'll have to wait and see on this next restart.
Yeah, indeed. And let's dial up Ryan Lucich again. Ryan, this is Jared in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Jared. Yes, I got you.
So things are looking messy up front. Tell us how intense it is battling with these guys.
Yeah, I'm kind of sweating up here a bit, but no, it's a lot of fun. I was really shocked at the run that I think it was Campbell and Jared had on the bottom on the backstretch. I was like, oh my god, they're like flying down the backstretch. So I think I threw it a bit late, but I kind of blocked them going into the corner. And then Norberg got by me at one point, but yeah, it's been really exciting and fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, it has been exciting and fun to watch. And so going into this last third of the race, we'll say, what are your thoughts on the final strategy, and at what point do you switch from preservation to attack?
Probably with around 20 to go, I would say, but I think the biggest thing is going to be, I expect a few more cautions, so it's going to be about when you decide to pit. So I definitely think there should be one more stop in this race. Everyone should have one more set of tires, so just depends if some people pit too late, too early. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Well, give us your prediction. How many more yellows are going to have?
I'm gonna say, I hope none, but I'm gonna say 2.
2 is probably a very good guess. So, as you start thinking about how many more yellows, is there any driver you want behind you here in these later stages with like 10 to go?
Anyone not named Sean Campbell or Jared Kaler, I would feel pretty okay with being behind me.
That's a pretty fair assessment there. But Ryan, we'll let you get going as we're going to come to 1 to green here. But good luck the rest of the way there, sir.
All right, appreciate it.
So Ryan, our in-race reporter here tonight, and a very good pick to win for you there, Edwin. And I think you're probably smiling up there in the booth at how good of a pick that was.
You somehow knew, but yeah, I am smiling very hard right now. He has been able to maintain the position for so long. I don't think I've seen him gone back as far as 5th. That's how good he is right now with maintaining those tires, especially the right rear. And yeah, he's been battling out, not trying to play too aggressively throughout the turns. And there are some chances where he could have lost the main lead, but he was still able to get it back and stay up in the lead. It's very great for him. And I'm happy right here.
Yeah, I think you would be happy as we come to the green flag. A little over 30 to go this time by. And I'll tell you who I see up there. University of Alabama at Huntsville is up there. Valparaiso is up there. North Carolina at Charlotte is up there. I also see Purdue and a couple other schools, guys. So we have a good mix in the front who are going to battle it out amidst maybe a couple cautions. 2 sounds like the estimate down to the finish line.
Yeah, I'll have to get Larry Mack on the phone to see when his analysis says our last caution could come. You see most of the cars in pretty good shape here late in stages of this race. But yeah, 30 laps to go. It's right around the corner. And we'll see how these guys duke it on out. Watch Ricky Paz there on the bottom in that number 19 machine. We'll see if he helps out the Wolfpack or if he wants to take that top spot. Still think there's some speed left in that Valpo University car. And here comes the field down to the green flag. You see him all over the back row for the 76. Good jump right there. We'll see if Lucich dives to the bottom. He does. The first driver we've seen do that here tonight. And Ryan Lucich does get to the bottom. He will hold in second there. And they're going to try and check on out of this field. Jared Kaler kind of stuck in a parking lot, boxed in right there for the UNC Charlotte team. We'll see if he goes low down the back straightaway. He thinks about it, slides back in line. He'll get a good push to that number 19 Valpo car.
Yeah, and you heard him say, the 12 car, that he was surprised with the run they had on the bottom. So can he get up and close the door on the 19? He's going to be a little high. He's going to come back down and block. So a little bit of defense here. We fan out. Will we get 3 wide? Not sure. We're going to try our best, but 2 wide still as we go into the corner. And Ricky Paz maybe with nowhere to go, but Ryan Lusich out front right now. I tell you who is waiting to pounce is that 4th place machine, the 58 of Jared Kaler. He's going to push. He's going to make his own luck. Push the Wolfpack up to the front, and a little bit of contact in the front. And then on the side, you saw just in your screen a car to the inside. That is Valparaiso and Ricky Paz. But coming down across the tri-oval now, everybody sorted back out. P3 for the time being, but I think 3 and 4 are going to have to decide amongst themselves. But this is where I like to be. I think still right on the outside, and again, conserving those tires. And Ricky Paz really using those up, having to save those tires below the 58. Did a good job of keeping his opponent down low right there. So a lot of racecraft come into play from these drivers. And I'll tell you who is here also. Speaking of racecraft, is that red car, Randolph, Sean Campbell.
Yeah, Sean Campbell, Jared Kaler have looked very strong together. We'll see if they work together. Wouldn't be surprised if they do and try to sneak on around. But those top 2, Nordberg and Usich, side by side, punching a hole in the air. And everyone else suck on up right to their back bumper. Jared Kaler with a good run on the top side. And there goes Nordberg down to the bottom. We'll see. And he goes right back to the top. Good choice there by Nordberg. Mixing up, trying to block both lanes at once. He's going to make that Chevy Camaro as wide as he can for about 30 laps still. That's going to be a tough task to do. Sean Campbell dives down to the bottom now.
Sean Campbell to the bottom. He wants 3 wide. Can he get up enough to get a run into turn 3? They left him a lot of room, but I don't know that that's how I'd want to enter the corner. Yeah, coming off here, you're going to see that Jared Kaler is going to have a pretty good advantage. Trying a little bit of side draft, but it looks like right now, it looks like Valparaiso back through the tri-oval. Everybody keeps it straight, but contact made. They are in the tri-oval. Those 2 cars just coming off the corner. And again, all you have to do on that corner is just contact a little bit. And yeah, that's very tricky right there, but well held by the 19 machine and the other cars involved back at the front. Jared Kaler up to the front, and then Sean Campbell to the side. North Carolina State falling through the back of a 3 wide situation. And I'll tell you who is now trying to be P5 is going to be that 55. That's going to be Trey Talbot, Alabama at Huntsville. Going through, you also see that 09 car for Robert Morris University. That is going to be Tristan Yoder, who is up in there. So, guys, we have a good mix up front. We're trying to get it figured out here. And I think we said that there was maybe 20 laps to go. We attack, but I think we are in attack mode currently, Edwin.
You're right. During qualifying, I said that we should probably take note of Jared Kaler. And so far, he's proven it right. He's currently in the lead, just now lost it to Ryan Lusich as he takes over to first place. And right now, they're going 2 wide into the corner. Notably speaking, I wouldn't recommend going 2 wide early because you need to lift and you need to be cautious about the other car. But that also hurts your tires a lot. As you can see, these guys just weaving around hard.
Yeah, maybe a missed spotter call there from FIU as Sean gave him to come down. So it shows life on that particular instance. But right now, side by side, North Carolina State trying to figure out who he's going to pass and draft. You can still see Robert Morris University right there, just trying to make room. And Alabama at Huntsville maybe has used their fast repair. Just a little wrinkle right there to that right front. That's going to tighten that car up just a touch. And yeah, give the 09 of Yoder pretty good run off the right side. But I'll tell you what, Brad Daniels, I noted, but Tristan Yoder, not surprised to see him with Robert Morris up front here. And so these drivers trying to come down to the front. And you can see Millerin right there. So yeah, maybe down on top end speed, a little bit of aerodynamic drag in that 55 car. Nothing that Trey Talbot can do right there. But back up at the front, guys, it is Ryan Lusich, Edwin, leading the 58 of Jared Kaler. But it looks like Kaler is looking to pounce.
And Ryan Lusich in the interview earlier said that he does not want Jared Kaler right behind him. I wonder why. Maybe just a little bit too aggressive there, especially during these final laps. We'll have to wait and see. But so far, Jared Kaler pouncing right behind him.
Guys, these runs they're getting are absolutely ridiculous coming from half and full car lengths back with tons of speed. And I think it's only a matter of time until we see someone lay the bumper. And here goes Jared Kaler. He's going for the lead. They're going to be side by side down the back straightaway. It's a drag race into turns 3 and 4. Kaler on the bottom. Campbell trying to come with him. Lusage battling back on the top side. We've seen the top groove work. Edwin, you called it a multi-groove racetrack, and it is proving true. The bottom lane, not necessarily the faster one. And Lusage fends off Jared Kaler. Run for the number 12, but here comes Esteban Munoz as well.
I'll tell you what, the drivers are racing, and Esteban Munoz making the opportunistic move. He'll fall in behind Sean Campbell and try and get set up. But I'll tell you what I noticed. The 58 car, when we were looking back at him, was able to go up just a half width up and get a good run off the corner, draft, and get up alongside the 12 car. It didn't work then, but you got to think that that is a move that we could see later on in the race. And so these drivers right now, single file, they might just be cooling their tires here. As I say that Sean Campbell is trying to go low, but what we might see, guys, is a rotating cycle of drivers who are trying to make moves and drivers who are trying to cool their tires. And then it's whoever can make the move the latest and have the best defense here as we get closer to the end. But still 20 laps to go. And we heard this is when Ryan said he would try and go to attack for North Texas. But these drivers racing a little bit of contact right there. North Carolina State, again, a late block from FIU. Esteban Munoz, known to be aggressive, and doing so here, guys. He is in full attack mode.
And if you got it, you got to go for it at this point. You said it, 20 laps to go. If the yellow comes out, everybody's on the same tire. Lusage holding on to the top side, Kayla right behind. But here comes Miller in that 169 machine. He's on the low side. He'll get a block from the number 9 machine. Might think about laying the bumper to the back end of that FIU Ford Mustang. Thinks better. They'll go to the low side in turns 1 and 2. They'll go side by side. Maybe a little bit of a slide job right here. And the number 9 trying inside out. He will not. He will slide in line. Good move for the 169.
Say Jeremy Miller with a professional looking slide job up in front of the 9 machine. That's going to be big. Tristan Yoder now looking at the back of that FIU. And I'll tell you who loves all of this, though, is the University of North Texas and Ryan Lusage out in front as he crosses the tri-oval. It'll be 17 to go this time by, but I'll tell you what, he's got Jared Kaler and Sean Campbell in the back. And, guys, I think they may have agreed to a little bit of a truce as they realize that they need to be in position for the win and play politely if they're going to be up at the front towards the end of this one. There you see the University of Alabama. That is the 55 of Trey Talbot, still trying to maintain position with that damage that he is carrying. But P4 right now, or excuse me, P5 going to be Esteban Munoz, followed by Tristan Yoder still. And guys, Matthew Nordberg from NC State back in P8 right now. He no damage, just a little bit slow after that contact with the 9 car. And I'll tell you what, guys, we talked about passing. Once you lose those positions, Edwin, it is so hard to get them back and to race your way back up the front.
You are correct about that. Once you lose the momentum, it's going to be very hard to recover. It's, as you can see, the 76 is trying to get the middle lane. He's trying to gain some speed, and he does. He approaches RMU, Tristan Yoder, closely. But unfortunately, even they're a little bit stuck behind because now they've kind of gotten away from the main path. And right now, that's going to make them troublesome, especially because they want to keep their position. They have to try to go as fast as they can without destroying their tires.
Yeah, looks like Zach Lindler coming up off pit road for Clemson University. A lap car in the mix of this battle. We'll see if that shakes things up. I'll tell you what that'll do is create a buffer to 3, and you can imagine Jeremy Miller and saying, sir, I need to get by if you don't mind. But I'll tell you what, I want to commend Trey Talbot in that 55 car. We know he's got a little bit of damage, but he is keeping that thing right in this group. That's very hard to do with the damage that he's got up on there, and he's able to keep that damage out of the air, most of the air, keep it behind cars, stay in the draft, maybe modify his line, or even get up next to cars a little bit closer so that you have the ability, that pocket of air, to take all the rushing air over that car and move it maybe up over your opponent's car or minimize that surface area. So, any event, very good job here from Trey Talbot in the 55 machine. But back up at the front, Zach Lindler still there. In fact, Zach Lindler now with new tires trying to get around these leaders. Maybe he's going to try and unlap himself. If he expects a late race caution, he wouldn't be the only one, and trying to race his way around back on the lead lap, or back to get another lap back. Zach Lindler currently scored 2 laps down. And so that would be one. I can see Jared Kaler a little bit loose right there. And yeah, probably a smart move just to let Zach Lindler go. No need to be mixed up in that. I'll tell you what, got to get down though and close the door before Sean Campbell comes to town. And yeah, Zach Lindler making it a little bit tricky right there for these guys. I'll tell you, Jeremy Millerin is also right there. And again, we said, what would the lap traffic do? Make it a little bit tricky, but the running order for 2, 3, 4 stays the same right now. And Ryan Lusich now just wants Zach Lindler to get around in that Clemson machine as easily as possible and maintain that lead, maybe even pick up a little bit of draft, guys.
Personally, Josh, as much as it hurts to say this, I don't think he should be fighting this early with the lead pack, because it's not only going to hurt the leader's tires, it's also going to make it very frustrating for the leader to get away. So this is a very interesting race. Zachary Linder just trying to get the free pass position, even though there might be a chance that, or not, there will be a caution, so that way he can get back on the lead lap or so. But so far, fresher tires, he's able to pass. Actually, there was no issue whatsoever, so he should be okay now. Jared?
And you saw the difference in tires right there. Zach Lindler kind of stuck in that midfield all night long. Puts 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on. He's able to whip by the leaders in just a matter of a couple laps. But it will make it interesting for Lusich, who's now in that kind of wake from the 137. A little bit of dirty air. And we'll see if Kaler can catch on up.
Yeah, Jared Kaler coming through. I don't know if it's dirty air, a little bit of draft. I mean, it's not a super... have at some point some air on the front of that car, keep it in place. And you had talked, Edwin, about being loose halfway through. Again, the less air you have on that car, the less air you're going to have keeping that car on the ground. So these drivers trying to get, in fact, you can see Millerin on the apron just a little bit, going to slide up. Will it open the door for North Carolina State University? It will. He's going to try and get in there 2 by 2. Can he get an advantage going on the high side? I don't know if he's close enough for any side draft or aero magic, and so I think that'll be his case. But I'll tell you what, guys, 9 to go this time by. Your running order still North Texas, UNC Charlotte, and Randolph. So Purdue trying to defend for that position, but you can see with 9 to go, Jared Kaler starting to move, starting to get a little bit defensive, and he is in the hardest spot right now. He's got 1 in his windshield and 1 in his mirror.
Boy, this is going to be a fun little battle here. 9 laps to go, coming to 8 to go, and you see the top 3 all locked under a blanket. Lusich, Kaler, Campbell, go top 3, all students right behind him. A little bit loose, it looked like, for Esteban Munoz. Couldn't really tell. But this battle continues to rage on. Jeremy, down to the bottom side, he's going to sneak by Nordberg. That's fourth position, excuse me. Slide back up in front. And that battle continues to rage on. 8 laps to go. And I think Jared Kaler may be just surveying where he's quicker, where he's slower, and building up a plan here. Josh?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, he has to be careful as he goes and pulls out for a pass, because that's going to expose him. If he chooses a line, you can bet that Randolph and Sean Campbell, as they move past this lap car, are going to go with the 12 car if it's an advantage. So if he pulls out a line, he's got to be a little bit careful and defend. You can see right there, maybe a little bit of trouble. 20 down into the apron. We stay green for now. And back up front, we are going to watch this, but we stay green. If we can get to the leaders, we see Ryan Lusich still as we come to 6 to go down in front. So the 58 car, again, not trying to show his hand too early. And Edwin, I wouldn't be surprised if we stayed in line like this until the last 1 or 2 laps.
I agree. I believe Jared Kaler's looking at the bigger picture here. Don't go for it too early. Just hold on, try to maintain your tires as best as you can, and hope that your competitors are getting a ton of pressure to where they're pushing themselves and therefore increasing their tire wear. And that's how he's going to be able to pass them easily with no mistakes in whatsoever. But right now we are approaching with less than 4 to go, actually nearly there, but still, regardless, this is a very interesting battle for the lead as we are approaching the race.
Yeah, going down
laps to
into
go. Go ahead, Josh.
5 laps to go is correct. Just about 2.5 wide down into the corner. Jeremy Millerin has caught up to this group, and you can see Jared Kaler just being defensive enough to keep Sean Campbell behind. You can bet that Sean Campbell, when they fan out to go too wide, Sean Campbell's just going to throw his hat in the ring. He'll make it 3 if he can through the tri-oval, but he might have to get a jump on Kaler. And so what do? 4 to go this time by. Now it looks like Sean Campbell going to have to defend. He does pull out in front of Jeremy Miller and Purdue trying to get around Randolph. I'll tell you who likes that is North Carolina at Charlotte. That is going to be Jared Kaler, who's going to try and get in, and this might be one of his chances to get behind.
And here comes Matthew Nordberg entering the fray. 5 cars all battling for a win here at Las Vegas with 3 laps to go. And Edwin, you said it. Who's your dancing partner here? Will the 58 be able to hang on? Here comes the 169 to the bottom. He'll poke his nose under Sean Campbell, maybe get a little bit of side draft, and he pokes right back in line. And you saw it right there. If you make the move, you got to get right back in line immediately, or possibly lose a lot of ground. You see big checkup on that bottom line, big run through the middle of the corner from Sean Campbell. Pay attention to that. He'll go all the way to the back bumper of the 58. We'll see if he's content pushing or if he's going to step out.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. These drivers are going to come in. Ryan Lusich taking a bigger line in. He's going to defend that. He's going to try to carry his momentum off the corner. The Wolfpack is around the 169 car of Purdue. 58 not out of line yet. He is still there. You can see the 12. The 12 wants that run off. Is he going to leave the bottom open right here? And it looks like he might. Jared Kaler has been making that play. We'll see if he's used up his tires. Coming to the white flag. They are nose and nose at the line, and we get a yellow flag currently. Sean Campbell tried to make a move to the inside, who was scored. Currently, the iRacing scoring shows Ryan Lusich ahead of Jared Kaler at the line when the yellow came out by 1,000th of a second. Sean Campbell, 75 thousandths of a second behind. We will have an attempt, iRacing has confirmed, for a green-white checkered. And my goodness, I don't know if the white or yellow came out first, but iRacing is saying the yellow came out first. Maybe a little bit of time before we get to the line. But these drivers are going to have to rack them and stack them. But Edwin, I'm trying to catch my breath a little bit. Absolute dash to the white line. Drivers separated by 1,000th of a second, not 100th, 1,000th of a second.
Oh, they're coming down pit lane, guys.
Now going to get fresh rubber for the shootout. Gentlemen, I am entertained.
This is the money stop, and they cannot miss their pit box. This is the money stop. This is where you put all the dice in. This is where you put all the chips in, and hopefully it gets a big payout. But it's only dependent if you manage to stop very well.
So here we go. Let's see who takes 4. Will anyone take 2? Right side's up on the 2 cars, and it looks like the left sides will go up as well. 4 tires for your top 3. Hagen Johnson has stayed out, so that's going to be quite interesting as well. And the top 3 off of pit lane. Looks like Jared Kaler might have got Lusich at the timing line there. And I do believe he did, but we're going to have 2 cars up in front of your former top 3. It's going to be Hagen Johnson and Jeremy Milner in. I think Jeremy took 2 tires on that stop, guys.
Yeah, Jeremy, I think took 2 tires, and I did see Ryan Lusich in North Texas slip a little bit, spin those tires out of the box. You would do that, but that is going to be the most important. You really want to keep that in check when it comes down to, again, like the line coming off pit road. And so very important moment there. But these cars will cycle around. We're going to have some waiver rounds, and then we're going to have cars that did or did not pit. And then we will have everybody racked back up. So iRacing getting everybody lined up in the proper order. But the race off pit road, crucial. And Edwin, you mentioned it, the money stop was very, very important. It looks like Jared Kaler and UNC Charlotte coming out on top.
Yeah, they were able to get a faster lap than their opponent, Ryan Lusich. Now this is where you don't know if you're going to leave some space for your opponents on the bottom lane, on the top lane. Which lane do you pick? So many decisions. And your crew chief isn't here. This is all based on you. You have to decide what's the best option for you. Do you want to fight for the lead, or do you just want to wait until they make a mistake and then you're able to pass? But so far, it's been pretty intense finish. I believe some of the drivers prayed for a Hail Mary for a yellow to happen, and they seem to have got it. But for the leaders, that was just why did it happen?
That is the case. Why did it happen? But here we are now setting up. NASCAR would love this. We cut the action for just a little bit of excitement here at the end. And so these drivers now, Edwin, you had mentioned, right, the new tires, fresh rubber. These drivers are going to have 2 laps just to get back up to speed. And so it's going to be, as you can see right now, I think these cars would be waved around. And so your leader should be, in fact, I think I see Millerin and then Jared Kaler. But I'll tell you what, guys, a number like 20 or 30 laps are going to be on Millerin's left side tires. And so he's in a great spot right now. But I have a feeling that as soon as he takes off, Jared Kaler is going to take off as well. I can also tell you guys it's going to be very important that Jared Kaler does not pass the start-finish line on the restart before the leader, lest he get a penalty for that. And so you can see Ryan Lusich maybe speeding up pit road, scored back in 20th, so not the way you wanted to conduct the money stop, Edwin. But nonetheless, I think that our leaders up front are going to be, and I'll tell you what, guys, I like Jared Kaler's position right now because he is in a position, in fact, it looks like the wave arounds have gone around, and your front row is going to be no tires or maybe 2 tires with Hagen Johnson on the inside for Clemson. He's your leader, and then Purdue on the outside. But I can guarantee you guys this could be wild because 4 tires behind is going to fan out, and those guys are going to try and race around into turn 1. And I have no idea how that's going to pan out. So I don't know. Edwin, what are your thoughts for this one? I'm a little bit excited.
Oh, my thoughts for this are going everywhere around the room. We may see some 4 wide passes for those with fresh tires versus old tires. We may see some people not ready for the grip to be in the tires as soon as we get the restart. And we may have like a caution already happened at lap 1 before. So this is just a lot can play here, but we're gonna have to see what do the front do. And let's see. Oh, I just had a little bit of a weird camera, but let's just see. The restarts here. Green flag has now gone underway. Jarrett.
So big tire spin by Hagen Johnson. You saw him slip that car sideways. He's able to survive. Jared Kaler down on the bottom side. He will take the lead. Johnson gets washed up the track. He's going to block the 169. 169 left with nowhere to go. He's going to get turned. He will save it for the time being. And Kaler and Campbell are your top 2. If the yellow comes out, that will end the race.
That's right, down into turn 3. We stay green. Yellow now. Front. These drivers coming back to the white line, and Kaler going to come up off the corner. It'll be his race to win. You can see down below still racing, and it will be Jared Kaler across the line. Sean Campbell a little bit behind. Guys, I'm not at all surprised at the calamity behind. Those owners are going to have to patch those cars up in the virtual world. But UNC Charlotte takes this one home, a victory absolutely earned, as he's going to get behind the pace car, but we're going to close this one up, and that's going to be the conclusion. Absolutely brilliant race from these guys. Jared Kaler able to bring this one home. He'll take it, and then it looks like Jeremy Millerin scored 3rd right now after that little slide off turn 2. However, it's going to be UNC Charlotte and Randolph on the front row, but guys, I'll go back to what a lap and what a shootout there if it was about 3.5 corners for these drivers, and some excellent defensive work by your race winner, UNC Charlotte.
Yeah, you said it, defensive work, and he had to work for that. And keep in mind, Jared Kaler was involved in that incident early in the race. So what a comeback race for the UNC Charlotte team here. That's got to feel really good as they take the checkered flag under the yellow, or the checkered and yellow, excuse me, and that will do it from here. But let's take another look at that white flag lap for Jared Kaler and Sean Campbell on your screen now. And at the line, Jared Kaler had that's our previous white flag. So let's see, prior to the yellow, that final restart once again from these top 2 as we go further on back in time. So we're going to watch the number 7 spin his tires. He gets out to a good jump, but watch the 58 and the 30. They go nose to tail. 7 washes up the track, and I think he kind of knew that he was held out to dry, and the 169 just nowhere to go, and that causes big stack up right there. And watch this block right here from the 58. He knew he had to make it, and Sean almost sold him a dummy and might have made it around the outside, but the moment of caution just before the 30 nosed ahead, and boy, that's tough right there for Sean Campbell.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that was really tough, and he had the momentum on the outside, and that's they if you can be in front at a certain point in time, then you want to do that naturally. But yeah, absolutely earned, and yeah, I think Jared Kaler, he's going to burn it down on the front stretch. Absolutely phenomenal performance from flag to flag, guys. You mentioned had a tough start. Brought that car back, got it fixed, got it back up to the front, and then battled methodically for I don't even know 50 laps, 30 laps there towards the end, and then brought it home ultimately in the most climactic fashion. So absolutely earned from Jared Kaler tonight.
We'll see if we can hear from him shortly, but boy, was that a fun little run and a great little burnout. Well deserved for that UNC Charlotte team. And Edwin, you said it. Jared Kaler, tough one to beat there in qualifying. Qualified third and made his way up to the lead. And he had to work for it here tonight. It was no easy task, not only with Campbell, but really all the other drivers. And we saw a lot of pack style racing here tonight. So that was a fun one to watch from up here in the booth. Edwin?
It was definitely entertaining, especially because I picked him as one of the upsets, but he was able to prove that he can save tires at Las Vegas. And funny enough, during practice, he was doing a mini burnout. So I don't know if that implied anything, but he was able to bring it home with the victory against tough competitors such as Sean and Ryan Lusage. But yeah, that was an awesome finish. Unfortunately, the yellow came out before there was any more action before the yellow, but still, it was a great battle for him.
It really was, and Jared Kaler, you see there, no stranger to CIL victory lane here this time at Vegas. But absolutely phenomenal run, and we'll have the full grid and the excitement and the post race coming up. But yeah, Jarrett, what are your thoughts at the conclusion of this one?
I mean, just what a wild run. We had the yellow happen prior, and that set up the green-white checker. And as you know, one attempt at the green-white checker here in the CIL. And I think we knew what was going to happen. We knew guys were going to have to go for it, and go for it they did. And we saw what happened. Guys got together, and that ended the night here early, albeit only half a lap early, but still early here tonight. So let's take you through your final results. Brought to you by InnoVetted Labs. Jared Kaler from UNC Charlotte, your race winner. Sean Campbell from Randolph Community College in second. Jeremy Miller in third. Matthew Nordberg from NC State holds on to fourth. Kenneth Talbot from Alabama at Huntsville in fifth. Bradley Daniels from Robert Morris in sixth. Esteban Munoz from FIU holds on. He will get seventh. Tristan Yoder in eighth. Jeff Pete ninth. And Tyler Stone rounding out your top 10. And your race winner joining us now, Jared Kaler. And Jared, it was a fun last couple laps. And first of all, you had to trek a long way back up to the front of the pack, but you did it. Walk us through those final couple laps, especially battling with you, Lusage, and Sean Campbell.
Yeah, I was I mean, the race was in the trash can pretty much on lap one. Had to get the backup car out pretty much 3 laps into the race. But yeah, there was so much dirty air going in through 3 and 4. I was trying to time the run on Lusage there. I could get through 1 and 2 really, really well. And I could take a different line through there, but I felt like it was a little bit of a leader through 3 and 4. And he kind of washed up just a little bit on come to the white flag there, and then I was able to get under him, and then the yellow flag came out, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's time for pit stop, see what we can do on pit road, and we were able to beat him off pit road. I don't know if he had a speeding penalty there, but we were able to get there, and then I think Sean had me if the yellow flag didn't came out. He had a great side draft going into turn 3. I heard the RPMs kind of drone down a little bit. The side draft was so big right there. But thankfully, the yellow flag came out just in time.
Yeah, congrats, man. You earned it. And so walk us through that last start. I think you knew you had a lot of worn tires starting. What were your thoughts on how to get around that and then defend your position in the process? I think you did both pretty well. Did you have a game plan?
My whole plan was to be the first guy to get through those tires. I felt like whoever was going to get through those tires the quickest was going to have the best shot to win. And I was able to make the move down to the bottom going into turn 1 and able to clear him. And then I just kind of like blocked Sean a little bit there going down the back stretch, and the yellow flag came out going into turn 3.
Sounds great to hear. This is Edwin from UNT. You saw that my teammate Ryan Lucius unfortunately had a bad pit stop at the very end, caught with a speeding penalty. But I want to go back to lap 1. I know that you got wrecked early on, and you did say it was like a backup car. But what I'm wondering is your mindset after that. Did you try to go aggressive early in the run, or did you try to look at the bigger picture, such as focusing on the race win?
Yeah, once kind of had a. I didn't know how bad the damage was, so I was thinking I can maybe get away with just using like the optional damage and then kind of save the quick repair. But I think I quickly found out on that green flag run that there was a lot more damage than I thought it was. So I had to come down under green and use the quick repair and get that done. And then I was just kind of hoping to get the lucky dog with the yellow flag, and we got one. I think probably 15 or 20 laps after that. And then from there, it was just kind of like picking my way off one by one through the field and just trying to like stay out of trouble. And I knew how loose the cars were and how sketchy they were for the first couple laps on the restart. So I was kind of like laying back a little bit, just making sure that there wasn't anything that's going to happen. And then once everything kind of got situated, then I started moving my way forward.
Well, move your way forward. You did all the way to the front of the pack. Jared Kaler, another win, a great win here tonight. I think something you should be proud of. But who do you want to thank for this win here at Las Vegas?
Oh man, I want to thank you guys for putting it on. It's a blast. It's been a long time since I've been in victory lane, so I'm happy to be back here, and got 2 more races left in the season to see if we can maybe get another one there.
Definitely will. If anyone's going to put money on you here in Vegas, I think we're going to put money on you. So Jared Kaler, congrats on the win again, and go enjoy it.
Thank you guys.
So is Jared Kaler your race winner here tonight? And I think you heard it right there. That's actually quite excited we've heard Jared Kaler. So I think having him mix it up with Sean Campbell, Ryan Lusich, and company really spurred something in him. So next into the booth is our second place finisher, Sean Campbell. Just didn't have enough, and actually might have had enough had that yellow flag not come out. We just heard from Jared, and he said that. But Sean, take us through the final couple laps in your eyes.
I think the yellow might have actually saved my life. The final one, not the very last one, because I think me and Jared would have duked it out and it would have been clean, judging by the scramble we had on the green-white checkered. But the one before, where I chose to go 3 wide into turn 1 and then the yellow came out, I don't know if that would have ended well. I tried it, but it worked out in the end.
I mentioned earlier how some of the drivers on that last caution, not the race ending one, but the other one where there was like a 1 lap to go, I said that that was like a Hail Mary. Was that actually a Hail Mary for you? Were you actually waiting for a caution to happen?
I thought coming out of turn 4 we weren't going to get a caution, so I went for the 3 wide, and then it came out, which made things really interesting. And then the scramble at the very end, I just a little upset that I wasn't going to start on the bottom, because the bottom, I feel, at least into turn 1 and 2, has been very, very good on the restarts. But the side draft almost got me past him at the very end.
Yeah, that was an awesome run, and congrats on the finish. I think you needed about 20 more feet of racetrack there to get it done. But walking through the pit stop, I mean, was it pretty clear once that caution came out, everybody was going to come down pit road, and it was going to be a game on from there?
I wasn't quite certain. I was thinking, I was just kind of paranoid that if we pitted and nobody else did, we'd be done. And then if we did pit and nobody else did, we'd also be done. But so I just did what Jared did, because I knew he's able to get up to the front really well. So I just followed him now that he was at the front.
Well, that's well earned and probably a good strategy. We learned following Jared Kaler around here would seem to work pretty well. So, congratulations, and let us know who makes this possible for you, who you want to.
Michael and Max and Eric and RSR. It's just, well, it's a fun.
Done deal. Done deal. Well, I think we had a lot of fun watching you and the competitors duke it out on the track. So, congratulations and enjoy your night.
You too.
So that was Sean Campbell, our second place finisher. And I tell you what, when we interview Sean on the road side, he's always just kind of cool, calm, and collected. But when we interview him on the oval side, there's a little more of Sean Campbell we get to know week in and week out. So it's really fun to hear Sean perk up a little bit for this kind of racing and duke it out with the likes of Jared Kaler and company. But last into the booth is our alumni winner and third place finisher, the 169 Purdue machine of Jeremy Millerin. And Jeremy, you were up, you were down, you were back up, you were up, back down. Walk us through how you're able to keep that mindset of just keep grinding for positions over the course of a long race here tonight. Jeremy, you there?
Shoot, sorry, forgot it was the push to talk.
There he is.
But yeah, no, I learned a lot last night in the prospect race, and I knew that passing was going to be hard. Not necessarily because I didn't have speed, but mostly because there were so many blockades and essentially mini pack racing. So just my strategy the whole time was just walk my way through the field, don't put myself in any dangerous situations, and don't, try and measure tire savings versus passing. You don't need to make passes early. You need to make passes late. And, 1/10 early is a little bit to sacrifice for gaining 2 or 3 tenths later on the track. So, yeah, glad I finally had one of these guys work out for me and made headlines for not the wrong reasons this week.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, congratulations. That was a burner of a race, and you came out in a great spot at the end, and for Purdue as well. But walk us through that final pit stop. Did you opt for 2 tires? And if you had a do-over, would you do that again, or was that a good choice?
I mean, given the position I am, I don't think I could have, finished any better. I don't think 4 tires could have helped me. No tires is not a good idea at all, as we saw. But yeah, I thought that Hagen was going to be clogging at the bottom there, and I was going to be able to possibly take advantage of that. And then he goes and clogs the high line instead. So I kind of had to make a Hail Mary to get to the bottom there and get by him. I did not see Norberg at all down there, but no, I don't regret my decision. And I'm just, especially considering I actually made it out of that last lap, just stayed in the gas, got sideways, and still managed to pull off the third.
Yeah, going back from that final restart, I know that you restarted behind Hagen or actually right side by side. But as he gone up, were you very upset that he somehow went up? And did that affect the way that you thought your race was going to finish? Because especially you also knocked into him on the backstretch, but you were able to keep your car, and keeping that car, you did well because you were able to bring a podium. So do you have like any thoughts when you were going through that entire lap, like any changes in the mood/thoughts?
I guess as far as my thoughts go is, doing all the official races and everything, I always think it's just a really reckless idea to try and start when you have no tires and a damaged cart first on the final restart. But no, I was glad I unfortunately did get into Hagen in order to save my car. I had no intentions to. I just kept it all the way in the gas, whipping the wheel as much as I can to keep it straight. And yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know. It's just, I don't think that he should have, anybody should really try and start from the first spot with no tires. It's just, bad racing in general. But yeah, as far as which lane he was going to clog up, I think he was trying to get high, and he thought that the guys were on the bottom line were the fast guys and that I wasn't quite going to get the run. And well, it worked out okay for me in the end. I wasn't mad. I only lost 1 spot on that restart, 1 spot in that, and gained 2 spots from what I would have had if there wasn't a caution. So can't complain.
Don't worry, you brought it home, the 3rd place podium, and that was great. Congratulations to you. Do you have anybody that you would like to thank for? Any companies, any family members, just anybody in general that helped you out with this race?
Oh, well, in general, I guess I can make a shout out to I just got offered a job by Honda this past week and been moving down to Indiana to go work for them. But I guess thank you, Purdue. No, they're not really directly associated with us in anything. We're alumni, but for all the experience and stuff I had there. And yeah, thank you to Andrew because he's a good teammate, and we did a lot of practice and stuff together, and puts up with my attitude sometimes, and I can get a little bit feisty, and big thanks to him for dealing with all that.
All right, great acknowledgement of who you were working for and of your teammate in particular. Your teammate also helped you out there, so that's great that you did that. Thank you so much. We'll send you out your way, but congratulations tonight.
Thank you.
So that was Jeremy Miller in from Purdue. A little excitement in his voice. Having a race in after racing the Prospect Series last night. Those top 16 Prospect drivers make it into the big show here tonight. So good to see Jeremy able to make it work here tonight. So one last look here at our final results from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Jared Kaler up on the top spot. Sean Campbell in second. Milderin in third. Nordberg fourth. Talbot fifth. Daniel sixth. Munoz seventh. Yoder eighth. Pete ninth. And Stone rounding out your top 10. So as the rest of the field flashes on your screen, Josh and Edwin, I'll turn it over to you guys. Another green-white checker finish. What was your biggest surprise here tonight? And Josh, I'll start with you, and I'm going to eliminate the end of the race from that discussion.
Well, I'll tell you what, all evening long, I think that we saw a lot of passing, a lot of runs. It reminded me a little bit of super speedway racing, plate racing. I remember when this package came out, that was the goal, and that was a similar effect that it was met with. And so I think that we saw that. I think that we saw that the simulations were matching kind of what this car did, especially at this track. And I think that it made for an entertaining event, Jared, as you said, not even at the end, but in the middle of the race, and at the beginning of the race, with drivers getting runs and trying to kind of work around each other, fanning out across the front stretch. I think that was maybe the biggest surprise I did not have on my bingo card. But yeah, Edwin, tell us a little bit about your thoughts for this one.
Well, like I said in the beginning of the race, it was going to be just a long shots. We were in Las Vegas, which is particularly known for having gambling in there. But yeah, the thing that surprised me the most was the use of the middle lane. I usually think that tracks are consistent of two lanes, and despite Las Vegas being a multi-groove, I've always thought that the bottom would either work better or the top. But I did not expect the middle lane to work at all, and that's where we've seen the most passes occur because of the momentum that you're able to carry through, as well as minimize the tire wear that you're able to get on the cars, especially on the right rear. But that's what I've noticed. That's what I've seen a lot of the faster drivers use. And it's good acknowledgement too, because I have a tough time at Las Vegas in particular about saving tires and which lane to use. But seeing this race is pretty good knowledge. I really appreciate all these drivers putting on a good show for us. And yeah, that race was just exciting to see and great to witness.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. It was a great show, and it was a great show from green to checkered all night long. We saw passes, we saw those ridiculous runs, and we saw a little bit of strategy play in effect tonight. And I think that's always fun to see those tires and strategy calls paying off here tonight. But for one last time, for all of us up here in the booth, hope you guys enjoyed. If you want more CIL action, be sure to tune in 7 days' time as we head out to Spa for the CIL roadside. So you'll see GT3 cars out on track there. And if you want more oval action, 2 weeks' time, 14 days exactly, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we head to Charlotte. So under the lights there for that one. Always a fun track. That is Charlotte, kind of the hub of NASCAR, so to speak. So it'll be fun to return there. But for Edwin, myself, and Josh up here in the booth, we hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as we did. And for one last time, we thank you for tuning on in and hope to see you again. Good night, everybody.